This conference will now be recorded.
By default, on error propagate will be executed, right? And on error continue is such a kind of thing where you want to send the success transaction along with status 200, right? So that is what the difference is. Now, see, I have added only validation now. Now, what I have to do, my next step is I have to get the record from the database and then I have to check it. Am I right? So, for doing that, let me create one subprocess, and that subprocess, yeah, let me take one subprocess, okay, subflow, subprocess in the sense subflow. So my next step is validate select query. Okay, so this one I have to do. I have to get the details, right? See, till now we are able to see only validate exception in the validate exception only. Now after adding that, after adding this db, what is going to happen? Let's see. Okay, let me rename this subflow. Get record. Okay, get record. Database select query. Okay, select query. Get data, get record. Get record. Okay, I am doing my database. We need to add it. The jar, OJDBC jar. This is the jar. Okay, and host sysdba HCL HLXC HLXC. Okay, let me check the connection. See, now I have kept this in subflow. Question to you. This is also a separate flow, right? So if any exception occurs in the database, can I able to handle in the subflow? Subflow feature already I have discussed it, right? See, this is main flow. Main flow is having error handler, that is different case. But how about this? I'm keeping the code in subflow, right? Think about it meanwhile. Okay, let me write that query.
It don't have error handler main programs, main flows error handler, like the main process calling it.
Main and private will have, yes, that's true, right? Main process and private process will have, subflow will not have, but there will be some situations where we need to handle, right? Subflow does not have error handler. Okay, so actually in mule 3 also the same case. Actually in mule 3 also for subflow there is no option like error handler. Okay, so later on in mule 4 what they have realized is, okay, in subflow also we can handle the exception, but that exceptions needs to be handled through only try block.
Okay.
Why? Because we don't have this was not available in 3. In 3 they have not given. So the developers or most of the people have realized. Okay, most of the people have realized. See, always we cannot keep private and main flows. See, main flow is also a costly activity only. The performance wise it will be degraded. So it is costly activity only. So when we are keeping anything overburden, it is overburden. See, it is only just database checking I am doing it. But there is a chance like the exceptions can be raised. There is no option like error handler. So in the 4, they have fixed that issue by promoting try. So they came like, yes, you can use try block inside your subflow wherever if you feel like you require exceptional handling. So this was not there in 3. That is the difference. Mule 3 version. 3 means don't think other way. Don't think in other way. Okay. ID. Okay. I know that from where we can take it. Ads dot. Let me. This is what. Okay. The record was done. I'm sending the input. Now I will be getting the output. So get instead of get record, I'm doing it. I have to transform the message. Why? Because we know it like the details we will be getting it. First I will cross verify whether we are able to get it or not. Transform message. Let me keep it. Let me build it. I'm trying to keep it as JSON. My thing is like I have to check whether the record exists or not. So before applying choice, just I want to check whether I'm getting the record or not. First, it is a checkpoint. This transform is not required, to be frank, but I'm just for cross verifying purpose I'm doing it. Okay, this is check record. So observe one thing, variable I have declared here, but I'm trying to access inside database. Okay, you will have that certification question, certification question like whether you can able to access the variables which are declared outside, whether you can able to access in the subflow or not. Answer is yes, but yes, just try to observe. Here I have declared, here I am using. Okay. Now let me get the flow reference. Through flow reference we can call it right. Let me call the flow reference. Okay. Okay. Now here flow reference name will be like my get record. So let me keep it like get record. This flow reference also I will keep a valid name. Call get record. Call get record. Okay. I'm transforming the message here. Now the flow will come here. It executes. It brings it back. Okay. So till now here in this flow, before this flow reference, what you have observed, the validation errors you have found it. Now I have added DB connector. Automatically you can see like DB related exceptions also it is giving the query execution, connectivity, bad syntax. See the beauty, right? So whenever you are increasing your connectors, related to that connectors, we can able to see those exceptions. Okay, so that means here also we can handle. See, if any exception occurs in the subflow, here also I can handle in the main flow. But that is not the good thing. Wherever you are calling, trying to handle over there itself is the good option. Okay, so if you ask like can we handle it at the main, yes, it is just like Java only. You will be declaring so many exceptions, array index out of box, string index out of box, invalid numbers, anything you will define. At last you will keep one catch activity, that is nothing but main class, right? Exception E, So any kind of exception other than which I have handled above, if any exception is occurring other than the handled one, it directly goes to that class. Same way goes here as well. Whenever you are handling, it will, if you are handling, it goes to that level. If you are not handling it, the main flow will take care. In the main flow we have to configure. Okay. So what I'll try to do, I'll try to check the happy path first. Happy path I will check, and later on we can see, like uh, let me create on error propagate. So on error propagate, if I give and any number of exceptions we can keep it. Okay, we can add any number of exceptions. There is no restriction. Okay, what I'll try to do, bad syntax, we'll try to handle bad syntax. See, if I am not selecting anything, means any means every, it is just like exception parent exception class. So at last, see, any on error continue, on error propagate, any number of things we can keep, but at last we will try to keep any as well, so that other than this, if anything is occurring, it goes to that branch. That is different case. Let me check first the bad SQL syntax. I'll try to give bad SQL syntax. Will try to handle. I'll try to change the query later on. First we will see the happy path. Okay. See, on error propagate I am keeping. On error propagate, how it behaves, just to see it. Let me keep my set payload over here. I'm writing some bad syntax like that. But whether it overwrites or not, let us see. Bad syntax I'm keeping. Okay, just normally some exception I'm keeping. First I'll check happy path, and we will try to change the query, and we will try to we will force like for raising an exception. Okay. Okay, I have modified. Let me check. I think it has updated. Let me save once again. Let me see if it overwrites. Started specification. So let me hit this. Validation already we have verified. Let me give a valid number now. Let's see how it goes. I want to check happy path first. Logger fine. Validation, it goes through it. Logger, and then it goes to this. We will get the record. I guess one record we got it. Finally we can it is a happy path. This is happy path. Fine. Everything is working as expected. Now what I'll try to do, I forcibly some syntax error we will try to make it, and we will try to update the jar. What I will try to do, I'll try to keep some dot instead of star. I am forcing to raise the exception. Okay, let me save it. Instead of star, I kept dot. I'm checking whether I can able to raise the error or not. It's building the project. It's initializing. Yeah, it started. Now let me send the syntax. Yes. Okay, variable, and it raised the bad syntax, right? Bad syntax it raised. Now where it goes. So to be frank, if you see the exception is something like SQL syntax error exception. right? The exception is this, the message is this, and description is SQL syntax. Some description you are getting. Try to observe this keenly. This one we are getting, this error we are getting it, right? Now it goes, the error comes here as we have not handled the exception in the subflow. So what happened? So here it does not only that with that exception details, it just jumped over here. The thread came back here. As we have handled that bad syntax over here, it goes to that thing. And observe one thing, on error propagate. I am trying to see some exception I am getting. Some exception, some description I'm getting. I want to overwrite it. I want to keep my user-friendly message. Will it overwrite or not? We will check. I have just executed. Is it overridden?
No.
No. So that is the behavior of on error. On error propagate. On error propagate, it never, even though we are trying to overwrite it, it will not allow.
So
Okay, it will not
basically,
allow.
there is no use of setting payload inside the on error propagate.
Yes, we cannot overwrite. Whatever you want to keep any user-friendly messages, that you can keep only in on error continue. Okay, so now you might be getting the doubt. So where exactly it will be used? See, runtime exceptions. See here, database syntax I have written forcefully wrong. Think runtime exceptions. Database is down. You can't do anything. The system itself is down. The only thing you can say is like whatever the message you are getting, that message you will try to propagate it to the front end system. That front end system will take that message, and basing on that to the UI what they want to set, they will be setting from there. Okay, so for business exceptions and all those stuff, what we can do is like we can keep our customized message, and whatever the source system is expecting, we can do that. But runtime exceptions and those stuff, when we are hitting the target, we are getting some error. The same message, the situations will be the use cases will be in such a way, whatever you are getting, you have to propagate to the caller is your requirement. Then this type of on error propagate you have to use. So whatever exactly you are getting from the downstream system, exact that message only needed by source system. The requirement is that. Then you can go for on error propagate. Mostly in most of the scenarios, it will be like runtime exceptions, I can say. Okay. Got it?
Yes.
So that means on time propagate will never change its message even though we are trying to overwrite. By default it executes, okay, handled exception at main flow level. It executes at flow level, it executes OEP status 500. No boss, don't customize anything. Send as it is the requirement. Then we will be going for OEP. Okay. Now the same thing. Now let me open another thing. See, now here I have handled that exception. So if I want to handle at this level, so if I want to handle at subflow level, then what will be the case? At main flow level I have handled, well and good, that is fine. But if at all I want to handle this, just try to keep the invocation of database in the try. So in that way, I am covering my try block. Okay. So let me go here. Try to have that try block. If you ask like handling at main level is fine, I would say yes, we can handle. That is what we have handled it. But that is at professionally it is not good. If you feel like wherever you are invoking at that level only, if you are handling, that is something like experienced persons will be doing it. So in this try, if you are dragging and dropping your try activity, by default you will be getting your error handler. See, try will contain not only a try, along with exception handling it will come. Try to pull this into your try block, and whatever the error propagate here it is, try to handle it over here. Okay, either you can just drag and drop, that is one way. Here I'm showing like how you can drag and drop the things, or you can separately you can do it. Anything is fine. Drag and drop and configure is one thing, or whatever at the top it is there, try to just bring that part and try to place it in it. It is going down, but you can do it. You can drop, it will work. Okay, why I am getting this error? Fine, I have error, so let me first correct it. Otherwise, it will not allow us to do anything else. Now tell me, so if you want to send some customized message, see database exception here, on error propagate, that is fine. But instead of this whatever it is throwing exact thing, you want to send your customized message. In that case, what you will keep, on error propagate or OEP for the same bad SQL syntax?
Custom message on error continue.
Continue, yes. If you want to send, if your requirement says like, okay, no, we are not understanding this, give us some customized message, then instead of propagate you will be keeping continue. Okay, let me first handle it over here, and then we will see. I don't want to confuse. On error propagate, I'm doing it, and type, it's already syntax I am checking. Okay, so even though if I keep or won't keep, there is no difference. Anyhow, it will not overwrite as it is on error propagate. So okay, here itself I am handling now. So whatever you feel, and try to observe one thing. In this flow, only database is there. So you could see only database related errors. So when you kept the same on error propagated the main, here throughout the flow you have validation, you have validation, you have database. So that is the reason at this level you can see both the inbuilt exceptions. Now I have removed it, so it is not allowing. Okay. See, here validation it is appearing as I have handled that DB here itself, so it is not appearing. Before this message, when I have not configured over here, automatically this validation plus that DB, I could able to see it. See the beauty. If you are handling itself, the exceptions we are not able to see. So everything, the AnyPoint Studio is such a intelligent, like this tool is that much intelligent. If you are handling at that location only, it is just closing it up. It is not showing in the main flow. If not, you are not handling at subflow level, then it is showing up. So see the beauty, the how the tool was written. Okay, fine. Now let me save it. The same thing I will be doing it, but okay, I have not changed the query, so it goes to happy path only. I'm sending the request. See, it is going now. No exception was found. It executes normally. Now let me go here. So the happy path, we know it, the happy path works.
So one
Now,
question here.
yes, go ahead.
So yeah, when you are getting the value, right, ID, where you are assigning the value in the subflow,
Subflow,
right?
I'm not doing
Okay.
anything. Nah. Just I'm calling it. Whatever the variable I have declared over here, inside the database, I am calling that variable. So as it can attain that value, so we are not seeing any errors. So that means valuables can be accessed inside the subflow. Here I am getting right.
Okay, you are directly getting from the payload. Suppose
Variables.
if we don't
No, no,
need
no, not payload.
to.
Vars.
Okay. No, we are
Variable I have
not.
declared in the here, right?
Yeah, set variable, right? That one also payload, from payload you need to assign that value, right? Somewhere.
Why payload? In the postman, from the query params only I need it, right?
Okay.
I'm not sending first. What is my requirement? First, I have to get the ID, whether the ID is there or not. First, I have to check.
Okay.
For checking that, first I
So
have to get the record of 3. So through query param only I need it, right? Why payload? Payload it will not come into the picture. I'm not updating the record here, right?
okay. So you in the query in the request itself you are passing that, but
I'm sending
you are
query
sending, right?
parameter.
Suppose I want to send that in the payload ID, right? Instead of there.
Okay, in that case, what you can do in the JSON format or like this, in this format, you have to send it over here. So instead of query params, it will be like payload.id.
Okay.
So instead of this query parameters, what will be the value? What will be the value? You can retrieve that particular ID value is like payload.id.
Yeah, payload.id we can retrieve that. This ID
Retrieve
where,
that
right? It is ID where is defined in the
variable.
set variable.
Set
Okay.
just in the variable I'm keeping. See here through query parameters I am just pulling the value. This is fine. Or from payload you want to take, yeah, instead of attributes.queryparam.id you can keep like payload.id. You will get it.
Okay. Okay. But the idea is like we want to use set variable also, right? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay. So instead of here, in that case, in body, what you have to do, you have to say JSON ID. You have to send, na? You have to send this
Yeah, JSON ID in the body. Suppose
in the
here
body.
two things we are achieving, right? Like uh, even you can post the complete message, and we can only
You can
use
post
this.
it.
Yeah, that's what
ID.
we are doing in one call. I thought it is going to two calls. We are doing in one call entire flow itself.
Yes, yes, yes. That is the right
Okay.
thing, right? Why to send? Why? Because we want to check the ID details are there or not. So
Yeah.
related to this fellow, I don't know his full details. So why I need to worry? See why? Because it may exist, it may not exist.
Yeah.
ID may exist. Try to understand the concept. ID may exist, may not exist.
May
So
not
first
exist.
checking with the ID is right thing, right?
Okay.
Okay. Now let me go here. Let me raise the error so that it will be handled at that level only. Okay, so let me hit now. It has to throw the exception. It was raised. Now here itself we are handling, right? So it automatically goes to on error propagate, and the thread will break there itself. Done. The same exception we can able to see it. So that means here the exceptions can be handled at flow level itself. So from this what you have understood. At main level you can handle, at subflow level you can handle it. When you are handling at subflow level, there itself the exception will raise and the thread will break. The thread will break, and from here only it will come back to the caller. If you are handling at main flow level, what happens again? It executes one more layer. Why? Because here it will not be there now. If it comes here and it executes here. So in the certifications, these people will confuse by giving so many on error continuous, on error propagates, like that. So many they will give. If you are clear on the concept, like you can answer any type of question related to exceptional handling. Okay, so in this way I just explained you how to use on error continue, on error propagate, and how to use try. Okay, so that is fine. Let me complete the POC. Okay, so just validation I have done here. Validation I have done. Okay, here like bad syntax, if it occurs, how we are handling this, we have done at flow level. Now another thing is pending. I have to check the ID. If exists, then this happy path has to execute. If ID does not exist, I need to raise a business exception, like the raise a business or business come custom exception, like this ID is not available, like that. It has to go with 200 status. So why? Because it is valid. On error continue I have to handle. So that is this part we have to do it. Try condition we have to check. If not, business exception or custom exception we have to raise. So for that, let me take one more flow reference for checking the payload. Okay, so this transform message will not be there. Okay, and we have to do modification just for checking the database output and checking that exceptions. I have kept the transformation will be in happy path after checking the choice router. Okay, let me roll back. Right, let me save it. Okay, okay, so that it. So I have called this. Now let me write the template. So this was called, and I have to check whether the ID exists or not. So let me keep one more flow. Subflow we can keep, or normal private flow we can keep. Anything is fine. I'll do one thing. Anyhow, I have used Subflow. I'll try to use private flow so that all the flows also we can check if ID exists. Okay. So anything, see private, just I am covering all types of flows, that's all.
Which one is private flow? Which one you dragged?
Without source configuration, that will
Like
be a
in
private flow.
In the mule palette, I don't see it.
You won't see. Have you gone through that video? Types of flows. It will not be there. Private flow, there is no separate flow. Only subflow it will appear. The one which was
Okay.
not the source you are not configuring means it is private flow. That's all.
Okay. Makes sense.
With ICE, you can see only four types of flows. One is subflow and one is main flow. But private flow is something that source will not be configured.
Okay.
Okay. Now let me take the choice router. See, choice is another condition check. We can do that. So in this flow, check if ID exists. I want to check whether the ID exists or not. So what I'll try to do, in the when condition expression, we can go like payload dot directly in my payload only it will be there, right? So anyhow, and one more important thing is here, this transformation. See, payload, in the payload we are getting. Why? Because the database output will be always Java. So without, if you are not keeping this transform message, you cannot check the payload exists or not. You cannot check it. So we need to have the transform message. Why? Because the output of database will be always a Java, which we will not understand. So you have to convert that format into some JSON or whatever, some format you have to convert. And after getting your output into a payload, you can output here you can check it. Payload dot you can check like, otherwise size of also we can check. Size of also we can check, or null also we can check, anything. Let's see. Size of payload in the sense, if payload is greater than, so I'm checking if payload, see if the record is not there means the size will be 0. Okay, if size of payload is greater than 0, okay, if size of payload is greater than 0, I will send like the user exists. Just currently I'm setting it as set payload. I'm just writing some customized message like user exists. Valid user. Otherwise I will say like valid user. Default we will keep something else. First let me check whether it is properly reaching to this condition or not. I have to verify. Better to check at each and every point. That is a good thing. Whenever you are doing dragging and dropping any
You
new
stopped share.
activity,
You stopped
is
sharing
it?
your. Yep.
Is it?
Just now it
How
got
come?
disconnected.
Okay, I think it's wrongly it was. Here logger I am keeping. Just logger is for only for, I have to keep some activity, right? I am keeping logger. Later on I will raise the exception invalid user. That is later part. First I want to check this condition. Success condition I want to check. Okay. So if you are using size of, I don't think this transformation is also required. Why? Because in the output of database, we can see the payload count is equals to 1 or 0. We can able to see it. So let us check that. Let us cross verify it. In that case, we no need to have this transform as well. If at all we are using size of. If you want to check at ID level means yes. Payload dot we have to use. We have to convert into JSON and we have to use. Okay. Now I'll try to send a valid user only. Whether it is reaching to choice router or not, I'll check.
Wait, did you call that subflow anywhere? That flow anywhere? Private flow?
Oh, good question. I did not caught.
Yeah.
Okay, let me complete this request. Good catch. Now it will not go. Anyhow, I have not called na. Okay. Let me flow reference. Okay. Check user exists. Okay. I will write like check user. What you are doing in that flow, you can write that. Call check user or some valid name. Call check user. Okay. Now I have to save it. Okay. We will test it and we will stop here for today. Business exception tomorrow will handle. We'll just check it and we'll stop it whether the flow is executing or not.
So is it best convention to call all the subflows from the main flow? Because in this case, we might have,
Yes,
okay, called it from the step
yes,
record. Okay.
obviously yes. You cannot keep all the activities in one flow. You are dividing your logic,
No,
right?
I mean, there are two subflows we are calling in this case from the main flow.
Any
But
number of flows you can call,
but we could
right?
have done from the first subflow called another flow, another
Yeah, we can
subflow.
do it. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
what's the better convention?
See, this is separate thing. Check user is a separate piece of code. So instead of keeping it inside that calling and checking, so keeping separately. Why? Because even other flows can call it if you write independently, right?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Record I'm getting. See, what payload size means, my meaning is this one. See, say payload of size. We are we are checking here, right? So I think we don't need to have this transform. If an analysis is correct, it will go to default branch. It will not come here. It will go to default branch. Oh, nice. It is carrying. So my payload size of payload is 1. That size I am checking. I am just setting the payload. If I remove that also, it will not harm. See, valid user I am getting. So what I'll try to do, I don't want to confuse this. Okay. I will comment it. We can comment any type of code in the mule by right clicking the activity and just toggle comment. What happens? The code will go into comment. Comment means you are just removing that piece of code. Instead of deleting, just I have commented out. So just I want to check after DB, just at the payload level itself, I'm checking if it is greater than 0 or not. If it is not, what I'm trying to say is like if there is no transformation also, it will not harm. Directly at Java object level, at payload level, we can test. So both the scenarios I'm letting you know. So let me do this. So if at all the user does not exist, then in that case, how it should go, that we will discuss tomorrow. Okay, started up application. Now, if I hit it, get record, record, get record. We will get the record. The size is there. size still exists, size 1. So what happens? It goes to this. It goes, size is 1. So that means greater than 0. So this one is executing. Okay. If I give the payload which is not there, it will go to default. So if I'm giving like 3000, some number I'm giving. Okay. Now what is going to happen? Payload will be 0. Now record is size is 0. So obviously it fails our choice condition. It went to default. In just logger it is executing. Why? Because in the from the database payload nothing is there. Payload nothing is there. So that is the reason it is giving error. So that is fine. So my intention is like whether it is checking the correct condition or not. Forget about the activity that I have kept in default. Just leave it. Okay. In logger, okay, what I'll try to keep is payload. It does not exist. Just I'll try. So I don't want to confuse you guys. Let me delete it. Let me set another payload. Just I'm keeping this in order to understand. If I'm keeping logger, why? Because payload does not contain anything. I have just commented out this transform, right? So payload does not contain anything. I'm checking the size of payload. That's all. Checking the size of payload. Payload does not have anything as of now. It is Java array list only it will have. So when I'm trying to print it, it is throwing an exception. So for understanding purpose, just I have updated it to set payload now. Okay, now it is there. Same thing, I'll test it. At least it will not error out now. So these type of exceptions we cannot assume, right? So that kind how we have to handle, I'll tell later. Known things we have configured. Unknown things will happen. So that is the reason any will be there. Now payload is 0. It goes to default. It executes like came into default flow. Okay. I guess you are okay now. Everybody understood the concept? I guess concept is clear for everyone.
Yes.
Yes. You have to practice. I will just drag and drop the activities. Until and unless you start doing, you will not come across different issues. Okay. Okay, fine. It is too late. Let's close the session. Okay. We'll meet tomorrow. Okay. Is everybody is there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. We will meet tomorrow. Thank you. Please go through the video. Try to practice. Otherwise, you will not understand. The flows are increasing. Okay. Try to make your hands dirty.
Okay.
Okay. Chalo. Thank you. Bye.
మేడం మీరు ఇన్పుట్ అనేది జావాలో ఇచ్చారా? ఇప్పుడు ఇందాక చెప్పినారు కదా.
క్వెరీ పేరం కదా, అసలు జావా ఎక్కడ ఉంది? ఇక్కడ అవుట్పుట్ ఆఫ్ డేటాబేస్ ఎప్పుడు జావాలో వస్తుంది. ఓకే. సో అది సైజ్ చెక్ చేస్తున్నాం. అది ఓకే. సో ఫస్ట్ మీరు ఈ పిఓసి చేయండి. మీకు ఇన్సర్ట్ జస్ట్ కీప్ ఎసైడ్, ట్రై టు డూ సెలెక్ట్ ఫస్ట్. ఓకే. ఇన్సర్ట్ దగ్గర మీరు బ్లాక్ అయిపోతున్నారు. ఇన్సర్ట్ వి విల్ చెక్ పర్సనల్లీ. ఓకే. అది పక్కన పెట్టి ఈ సెలెక్ట్ దాని మీద చేయండి. ఈ సెలెక్ట్ మీకు ఏమి హర్డులు రావు. ఓకే.
మేడం.
ఓకే మేడం.
యా. హలో
మేడం. అవుట్పుట్ డేటా అనేది మన పైథాన్ లో కూడా ఇచ్చుకోవచ్చా?
పైథాన్ ఇచ్చుకోవచ్చు. పైథాన్ అనేది అంటే అది స్క్రిప్ట్ కదా, స్క్రిప్ట్ కాలింగ్ అవుతుంది, అది చేయొచ్చు. ఆన్సర్ ఈజ్ ఎస్, బట్ ద వే ఆఫ్ డూయింగ్ విల్ బి డిఫరెంట్. సో ఇక్కడ ఫార్మాట్ చేంజ్ చేయడం అంటే ఏంటి అంటే XML, JSON, జావాకి అట్లా కన్వర్ట్ చేస్తాం, పైథాన్కి కాదు. పైథాన్ ఈజ్ అ స్క్రిప్టింగ్, రైట్? ఇట్స్ నాట్ ఎ లాంగ్వేజ్.
ఎస్ మేడం, ఎస్ మేడం.
ఓకే, యా. పైథాన్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేయొచ్చు, మ్యూల్ నుంచి ఆప్షన్ ఉంది. We can call any Python script. Okay, the output we can call it, but the output cannot be a Python.
Okay.
There is a difference. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Okay guys, chalo. Yeah.
Kiran, could you please share your screen?
I think I will. I can't. I need